It is the morning of the March for Life. I'm with Assistant Secretary of Health, Brian Christine. How are you doing this morning?
I am great. It's such a blessing to be out here today. Thank you for taking the time to let me speak. And I want to start off by thanking President Trump and Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for all that they do for life in this country.
We have had about 1 year, a little over a year of the Trump administration. What would you say are the biggest things that have taken place as far as pro-life policy goes?
I think it's incredible. I stand with President Trump and Secretary Kennedy when I say that every abortion is a tragedy, and they say that as well. So the respect for life that this administration has is amazing. From conception until death, we respect life and children. We protect our children. We stand for life, and we stand strong for life.
The Trump administration has announced a number of big pro-life actions over the past couple of days leading up to the march. One of those, the Trump administration is reviewing that Planned Parenthood affiliates might have received $88 million in loans during the COVID-19 pandemic, potentially illegally. What is HHS doing to make sure that taxpayer dollars don't go to fund abortions?
So President Trump has made it very clear that he is going to make sure the Hyde Amendment is enforced, that federal dollars don't go toward abortions or facilitating abortions. Also, I'll let you know that through the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health, we handle Title X funding. And so there has been a relinquishing of funds from Planned Parenthood, $2.3 million. Because of the oversight of HHS, they've relinquished these funds, and that means $2.3 million is not going to that abortion mill. $2.3 million will not be going toward killing our children, and that is huge.
Why did that take place? I saw the Trump administration had to return some funds to Planned Parenthood, but Planned Parenthood actually refused to accept those grants. What happened there?
We provide incredible oversight, and that's why this $2.3 million is being relinquished from Planned Parenthood of the Northwest. And so the point is, we always watch our funds, we always oversight. This $2.3 million won't go toward killing children, it's going to go toward life.
Should we expect any further actions this year from HHS to make sure Planned Parenthood doesn't have access to that funding?
Well, I tell you, again, as we stand for life, for instance, through the Administration for Children and Families. We are ensuring that for unaccompanied minors that come across the border and are taken into custody, we are ensuring that their health care dollars, the funds that go to provide health care to these children, is in line with the Hyde Amendment. Those funds aren't going to go toward abortion. So we're watching for things like that. We are also, the NIH is announcing that NIH funding cannot be going to projects or studies that use embryonic tissue that's obtained from elective abortions, and that is huge. Director Bhattacharya is clear. He is a warrior for life. Those funds are not going to be going to those studies that use the embryonic tissue that could come from elective abortions. Again, this is another example of this administration standing for life and protecting our children.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. Why is that so important for the pro-life movement after all these years that change has occurred?
Well, because I think we have to always be vigilant. You know, all the wins that we've had in this administration, all of the great things that have been done, it's only one election cycle away from losing these things. So every November is important. This November in 2026 is important. We have to vote. We have to vote for those candidates and for those individuals supporting President Trump, because all of these victories we're having as a pro-life group can be lost if the elections don't go our way. It's incredibly important that we continue to support the President and Secretary Kennedy in these initiatives.
Let's come back to Title X, which you mentioned earlier. The first Trump administration promulgated the Protect Life Rule, which provided a counselor in a Title X project could not refer to or encourage abortion. The Biden administration rescinded this rule. Should we expect to see that rule come back?
So again, what we are going to ensure in this administration and through my office and through HHS is that federal funds are not going to be going toward performing abortions or facilitating abortions. And that's incredibly important. That is such a seismic shift from the prior administration. This administration, this secretary for HHS, we stand for life.
Looking ahead to 2026, what would you say are the main things that are your priorities as far as pro-life policy goes?
Absolutely. Again, ensuring federal dollars don't go toward abortions or facilitating abortions, ensuring that funding for NIH grants don't go toward those studies that use those embryonic tissues obtained from elective abortions, standing again for mothers. This is one of the most pro-woman and pro-mother healthcare administrations that the world has ever seen. All of these things are going to protect life.
A big issue for the pro-life movement this year is the abortion pill. The Biden administration removed in-person dispensing requirements on the abortion pill. Is it a priority for HHS to determine if it's safe for women to take the abortion pill without seeing a doctor first?
Sure. You know, Commissioner at the FDA, Dr. Marty McCary has that review ongoing. They're collecting data. I'm going to defer to him on those things, but understand that that is ongoing. That data is being collected.
Some pro-lifers have been frustrated with the speed of this review. What would you say to them?
I would say, listen, Dr. McCary has committed to that. That review is ongoing. It's moving forward. And again, he's committed to that. It's ongoing.
HHS's Office of Civil Rights issued a notice of violation to the state of Illinois for some conscience protection violations related to abortion. Should we expect more notices of violations coming to other states?
This administration, President Trump, Secretary Kennedy, and myself as the Assistant Secretary for Health, we are absolutely committed to protecting the conscience of those individuals like myself who believe that abortion, that euthanasia, that those things are wrong. Just because you have deeply held beliefs that those things are wrong, as a medical professional, we shouldn't have to check our morals at the door. We don't back away from that. This administration is committed to that. And that really, honestly, that should be music in the ears of people who support life and respect life.
You've differed a lot from your predecessor in this role as far as transgender policy goes, particularly. What are your main takeaways from that area of what you've done this year?
I think there can be no greater visible sign that this administration is different from the prior administration. I stand here a man in a man's uniform. I stand here saying that little boys are little boys, little girls are little girls, and that can never change, never change. And that is a seismic shift from my predecessor.
Should we expect more in 2026 from HHS regarding protecting kids from these types of procedures?
Absolutely. We are never going to take our foot off the accelerator when it comes to protecting our children, protecting the unborn, doing the things that matter to the Right to Life movement.
And HHS is announcing that it's moving forward on a rule to make sure that migrant children are not getting taxpayer-funded abortion travel within the United States. Why is this important?
Well, it's important that those federal dollars, our tax dollars, are in line with the Hyde Amendment, that they aren't going toward abortion or facilitating abortions. Again, absolutely, that's not going to happen. This president is firm. Our secretary is firm that those dollars aren't going to be used in that way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.